Hey, this is Irvin Griffin, and in my last video, which I had my girlfriend TheNatureGirl30, which she's actually here for this one too, there was a couple people we said that are being compared to Aisha Curry and her husband Stephen Curry. The couple here, and this is them in their younger days, when Jada still had her long flowing black hair. And I said, you know what? These cats could actually have their own video. And that's what we're going to do. And yes, I do have the Nature Girl 30 back here with us because I feel like we need a man and a woman's perspective on this. I mean, it just wouldn't sound as good with just a man, with just me, I should say, here. Now, let me say this right off the bat. Back in the day, I loved the Fresh Prince. Will Smith's persona, not only on the show, but as a rapper. Yeah, was he corny? Yes. Was he goofy? Yeah. But he was cool, and it worked for him back then. It worked for him back then because he cultivated such a clean, friendly image, which we would find out, of course, later on, that it was just that, an image. It wasn't really who Will Smith really was, but back then, the 90s and stuff, you know, and you youngsters that talk about, oh, his raps are corny and this and that. Well, the only one they leave alone is Summertime. And before I go any further, I mean, why do you think that is?
What?
That they leave, they pick on him about all his other raps, but Summertime they tend to leave alone.
Because Summertime matches summer. Like, summer anywhere. Not just in Philly, not in Chicago, not even... I mean, it's not just in one place. Everybody who's had, that summer moment, especially when you have those cookouts. And I'm from the South. We know about cookouts, especially in the summertime. People can relate. It's relatable. And it doesn't seem like he's BSing anyone either. It just seems like he's just talking about his experience.
That's true. It seems like that one, probably more than most of his rap songs, that's when you kind of see a little bit of the real Will Smith. That's probably another reason why that one holds up. You feel like you're seeing a glimpse of the real person.
Yeah. And I think, people memorize that song backwards and forwards. I mean, they know the lyrics.
Yeah, like I said, even people that didn't like Will Smith back then or definitely don't like him now, nobody disses him over Summertime. Nobody, because that was probably the closest thing to real that you ever saw him be in a rap song. But yeah, Will Smith, he was cool though, and he was applicable. I mean, not just black people, but I would say more non-black people liked him through the 90s and even to the 2000s, even more so than black folks did. I think non-black people liked him.
Yeah.
Even a bit more so.
Yeah. But we didn't really know the guy. I mean, he actually had a persona that people like. Because from what I remember, when they were talking about the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, the fact that he used his real name, I think it was loosely based on his life. When his life in Philly, he got in trouble to where his mom sent him to one of his richer relatives. I think that kind of loosely based on his real life. So people were like, okay, so he is kind of a Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. But, I mean, he was a relatable guy. That's the reason why he was so popular. Because he came off as relatable. We didn't really know he had a perfectionist issue.
Yeah, I mean, and it would come out more and more. I mean, there was hints of it. We know this now. There was hints of it in his first marriage. But it really came out with the second marriage, of course, with Jada Pinkett Smith. Now, let me say this. I have said I got old videos where I really went in on Jada Pinkett. But let me say this right now. Especially to black YouTube creators, especially black YouTube creators that are my age. I'm 51 for context. Y'all is saying, oh, Jada never really had a career. No one would know who she was if she was Will Smith. I have to call, and this will probably be bleeped, But I have to call bull that. I do. I have to call BS on that. Because Jada at one time actually had a pretty good career going in the 90s.
She was an up-and-coming star. And that's the one thing, that's the biggest misconception that people of this generation have. She was an up-and-coming star. She did not need Will Smith in order to get some notoriety. She had that. And Jason's Lyric was probably the movie that a lot of people remember her being in. And
Great.
for other reasons.
Great. And she actually had a great performance, great acting there. But let's be honest, like Regina said, people, myself included, probably remember her more for her getting butt naked with Alan Payne in that swamp.
Okay, I tried to be a little bit PG about it, but I didn't expect her to. So, but he's not wrong. Let's be honest. It's pretty much because of that racy love scene that she had with Alan Payne.
Yeah, and the one she had in the TV one with Alan Payne again later in the movie, that was probably even racier than the one in the swamp. But most people remember the one in the swamp, though.
True, but let's be honest. That movie actually was good.
Yes.
That was a really good movie.
Yes, that was a real good movie.
It wasn't as garbage as Monsters Ball.
No.
Let's be honest.
If I was going to compare Monsters Ball and Jason's Lyric in terms of storytelling quality, Jason's Lyric is way above Monsters Ball.
Like, Jason's Lyric pretty much was the Big Mac while Monsters Ball was a turd burger. That's pretty much just kind of what it was.
Damn.
I'm gonna be honest.
I almost spit out my water on that. But it's true.
It kind of was. Let me
put it this way. Let me put it this way. Monsters Ball, I'm not gonna be as graphic, but Monsters Ball was the cheapest, worst made McDonald's burger you could think of. While Jason's Lyric wasn't quite like gourmet quality, but it was, say, your good family local restaurant quality burger.
You can probably say that Jason's Lyric was a Fuddruckers. For those that know what the restaurant Fuddruckers, y'all know what I'm talking about. But you can make your own burger as big as it is, as big as you want it. That's pretty much, you can say, Jason's Lyric compared to Monsters Ball. Monsters Ball was a dried up, shriveled up piece of nothing from probably the worst McDonald's that you have in your town.
Yeah, in fact, the only thing you remember about Monsters Ball, see, Jada Pinkett and respectively Halle Berry both got barefoot, butt naked in both of those. But unlike Jason's Lyric, where you actually remember great performances, as well as Jada Pinkett in her birthday suit, Halle Berry, all you really remember is her getting down and dirty in a scene that you could have got any porn actress to do with Billy Bob Thornton. And yes, I think those two really did the do. I don't care what nobody says.
Okay, and I'm realizing we are going way off tangent.
Yeah, I know. But getting back on point, Jada Pinkett Smith had a real career. She had Jason's Lyric. She had Set It Off. Before those, she had Different World. I remember her being very funny and comedic in Low Down Dirty Shame with Keen Ivory Wayans.
You can even argue Woo is like maybe one of those movies that's like a hidden classic that not a lot of people talk about.
Yeah.
But she actually did have a decent career. And you can even argue Nutty Professor kind of put her on the map.
Yes, and I would even dare say, had she not married Will Smith and would have kept the career going the way she was, she may, I say may, I'm not going to say for sure, but she may have beaten Halle Berry to the Oscar.
Because to be honest with you, she, in my humble opinion, is a far better actress than Halle Berry. She does have a lot more substance and she has the potential to have some range. Halle Berry, she has, you can probably maybe half range with her. She could be teary-eyed, she could be serious, but she always, that accent, every time she tries with an accent, it's an epic fail. Well, with Jada, she can probably pull it off. But I think, in my opinion, if she did not marry Will Smith and she had her own career, she would have surpassed Halle Berry, or at least be tied with her.
And here's the crazy thing: one of the people that went out for the role of Storm, which we know eventually went to Halle Berry, was in fact Jada.
Honestly, can Jada be Storm? I don't know.
But the accent she definitely could have pulled off.
She doesn't necessarily have the look for it.
No, that's her problem. Yeah, that would have been her problem. She doesn't have the look. But then again, you could argue Halle Berry didn't either.
But going back to Will Smith, in this case, there was a lot that we did not really know about him. That we didn't know that he had, that he was a perfectionist. And I even talked to Irvin about this, because I've seen this in a few documentaries about Prince when he was still alive. That even Prince was a perfectionist, not just with his music, but also with the women he dated. And I think it was Carmen Electra that said that she had to sleep with makeup on, because she literally had to sleep with makeup on pretty much every day when she was dating Prince. Hence why it didn't work. I'm not going to say Prince was always like this. I think he was this way with Vanity as well as with Carmen Electra, but he probably toned down as years went on. But he had that perfectionist attitude. The same thing with Will Smith. Will Smith had to have the perfect life because he didn't have the perfect life. So he had to makeshift his perfect life with a woman that was not compatible to him. She had the look, but the personality didn't go. Let's be honest. Her best friend was Tupac Shakur. She was a hood rat. Let's be honest.
Yes.
And yeah, we've already seen couples like this before with Bobby Brown and Whitney Houston. Yeah, I said it because Whitney Houston's a hood rat too. Well, was. May God rest her soul. But the fact is, she was just as hood as Bobby. And Bobby was being blamed for her behavior when she was always that way. But she was pretty much in the PR machine, and they were pushing her to the moon as being this perfect black woman. And even when when she was in Paris, everybody knows that infamous talk show when that guy said he wanted to bang her, but he said it in the most crude way. But the fact is, she was attractive because she looked demure. She had that whole demure personality. But we knew deep down as time went on, especially with that reality show she did with Bobby Brown, that she was a hood rat. Both her and Dionne Warwick were. And that was the one thing that we ended up finding out down the line when she was on her way out, unfortunately. But when it came to Jada, she was in the same position as Whitney Houston, at least in my opinion. But I think we made a comment in the previous video about Ayesha Curry. And Ayesha Curry is pretty much going down the same road as Jada, especially when she was on Red Table Talk. It did not do her any favors. It's still not doing her any favors. And if she actually divorces Stephon Curry, she's not going to have anything to stand on. She's not going to have a platform. She's not going to have nothing.
In fact, it would be worse for her than the subject today, Will and Jada Smith. It would be even worse because Jada, people say, oh, she won't have nothing. She divorced Will Smith. I won't necessarily say that.
No, because people got to understand, Jada actually had her own platform. She actually had her own platform. She showed what she was made of. She was a good actress. She was in decent films. And not only that, Nutty Professor shot her to the moon because that was probably one of the most popular romantic comedies she's ever been in. So she's already she developed her foundation already. Ayesha, and bleep this out because I'm going to be real about this. Ayesha don't have shit. Let's be honest. She don't have a pot to piss in at this point. She's got no foundation. She's got nothing to show that she's worth anything. She's just a woman that's attractive, that's popping out kids, that happens to have a ring and be married to Stephon Curry. That's the only legacy she has at this point. She has nothing developed. She doesn't show that she's worth anything. She doesn't even show that she can actually run a game. Well, like run the game with Stephon Curry. Like actually make money with him. And I'm going to have another example. Coco and Ice-T. Ice-T straight up said he wanted a woman that could run a hustle with him. And Coco is a hustler. She may not look it, but she's a hustler. She knows how to make money for herself and for her man and her family. She's got actually, what is it, the term that modern women hate these days? What do you bring to the table? Well, Coco got a lot to bring to the table. So does Jada. Even though people don't want to hear that, she got something to bring to the table. But Ayesha don't got nothing to bring to the table. She don't even have a crumb. She has nothing. Her vagina is going to get stretched out, worn out, beaten up to the point where nobody's going to want it. It's going to be like dropping a dime into the Grand Canyon. And then there's going to be times when she can't have any more kids. Then what? Then what? You can't use your man no more. The one thing I can say about Jada is even if she divorces Will, she'll be fine financially. Not only she's going to get his cut because Will wasn't smart enough to have a prenup, but it sounds like they had a postnup. But either or, she might get half of what he has, but she'll be fine because she can still act. What can we say about Aisha?
Yeah, I mean, she probably won't get the big roles like she used to or could have potentially. I think the last big one before her name really became mud was that Girls Trip.
Oh Lord, yeah.
It was that Girls Trip movie, but yeah, the problem here is, and this is what we found out, Will Smith is a perfectionist. I mean, you mentioned Woo earlier.
Yeah.
There was that story, and actually he said this a long time ago. What was the comedian's name off of Living Color? Not Jamie Foxx. It was one of the other ones.
Tommy Davidson.
Tommy Davidson said this in his book a long time ago, and it resurfaced after the Oscar slap.
Mm-hmm.
It resurfaced after the Oscar slap. He said a long time ago there was something off about Will because they were supposed to be like a kissing scene between Jada Pinkett's character and Tommy Davidson's character, and Jada was all in. Tommy was like, "Yeah, but you're a married woman. I don't want to go too far." And actually, Will Smith ended up confronting. According to him, he wasn't violent or directly threatening, but the way he came at him was kind of threatening towards Tommy, and that's when he realized Will was not the nice guy that he portrayed on TV and stuff and in interviews. And me personally, looking at it from the outside, going on Tommy's story, I'm like, dude, you should have took that up with your wife, because from what I heard, your wife had no problem, and in fact, she wanted the scenes between her and Tommy Davidson to go even further than what they did. It sort of reminds me of a story from wrestling where allegedly Stephanie McMahon wanted to do a romance angle or a fair angle leading up to WrestleMania 18 with Chris Jericho, because Jericho was the undisputed champion. She was going against her real life boyfriend and her on-screen estranged husband, Triple H. But legend has it, Triple H shut that down. But it wasn't shut down because of Stephanie. Stephanie, from what I heard, from what the legends say, was all in. She was all in. But it was her now husband, Triple H, that shut it down. And from what I heard, it got tamed down. And going back to Woo, the scenes there got tamed down mostly because of Will Smith. From what I heard, Tommy was only cool with doing it as long as it was okay with the Smiths. Jada reportedly was all in.
I mean, we kind of know that Jada uses her body in all different types of ways, mainly for an art form, which I do. For a person that really does like art, I do believe your body can be a natural canvas, and how she uses her body in some pictures, I honestly do appreciate that. And when it comes to her craft, and even when it comes to wrestling, even wrestlers will say that they love it for the craft, not just because of the money. For those that are really in the game, she loves it for the craft. She can be creative in everything. And you don't really want to get in the way of that. But with Will Smith, it's about pride. I mean, when you think about it, if you know you're a woman, you would not be concerned at all, even for a love scene. From every actor and actress that have stated this in every interview that they're in, it is not romantic. It is not sexy to be in a love scene because you have constant cameras around you. You have the director actually telling you what to do when you're in bed with this person. It is awkward. It is not fun. It is just as fun as women actually having to go get their pap smear done. Yeah, I'm sorry I had to be blunt, but it's nothing sexy about a pap smear. Just saying. If you're a woman, you know what I feel. You know what I'm saying. But in this case, yeah, I don't know how long she's been like this. Maybe he knows that she actually does dabble with other people behind his back, just like the whole August Alsina thing. Maybe he knew this about her from the jump, hence why he was very self-conscious about her being with any guy on screen, because she made it clear she was bisexual. And she's been with women and men. She was even with, what's the name of that woman that was in Why Did I Get Married? The drunk lady, the drunk black lady, the abusive one.
Oh, the one that kept abusing Michael Jai White.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know who you talk about. I can't think of her name either, but I know who you talk about.
There were actual rumors that she got with her twin sister. So, to be honest with you, she's always been known as a bisexual. And
and there's also rumors that she may have slept with Mark Anthony, who was the then husband of Jennifer Lopez.
And that could have been the reason why they got divorced. But the thing is that she's a bit of a freak. We know this, and from what I've heard so far in interviews from other people is that Will was coming in with a cocktail weenie when she wanted a giant sausage. So.
Oh yeah, there's also a story about Will actually walked in and another man. Some say it was Mark, but we don't know, and we don't even know if this story's true. He walked in and basically he caught another man with Jada, both of them butt naked, and basically he was going in on her little booty like wall, and Will just ran out there crying like a little woman, like, ah!
In other words, she was he was going in her like monstrous ball style. I guess you could probably say it like that.
Yeah. As
crude as we are making this right now, the fact is that Jada's kind of put out there the type of person that she is from the jump. She does have a very narcissistic personality, and I know a lot of people like everybody does. I'm like, no, like there's different tiers of narcissism, and in this case, narcissism also leads to self-sabotage. If I go down, you go down too. If I go down in flames, you're gonna go down in flames with me.
And plus, people who are in, and I've been around a few of these people who are in open marriages or swinger swap, or who agree to do that. A lot of them are private about it. They usually don't put it out there like that. Jada's not really of that personality.
No.
She's like, no, I'll put it out there like that. Will tends to be more private, and that's another thing. Will has been doing a lot of the same things. Everybody act like, oh, poor Will Smith and stuff, but it turns out he's not exactly a saint. He's actually had other women and rumoredly men too. I mean, the two that won't go away as far as Will Smith goes, Margot Robbie, who is now married to somebody else and now has a child, but Margot Robbie, that's the woman that did Harley Quinn in the DC extended universe movies, and of course was Barbie in that surprise big hit Barbie film that came out like a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
Then the other story that won't go away is Tisha Campbell's ex-husband, Dwayne Martin.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, because there was a big tale by this one dude who, quite frankly, seemed, as you kids like to say, zesty. Came out about he walked in on Will basically getting taken by Dwayne Martin like war.
What was like war? Like, good grief, man.
Basically, that was his way of saying saying he had Will, let's just say, hands and knees going at it. I'm trying to be as clean as possible,
but we know that can't be possible because you still could be a bit dirty.
Yeah.
But despite all that, the comment that we made from the previous video was mainly because we felt that Ayesha Curry was going in the same direction as Jada Pinkett Smith. The only difference is that Jada Pinkett Smith actually does have you could probably argue she has a foundation. She has an acting career. We've seen how she can act. We've seen the movies she's been in. She's been in a few blockbusters, including The Matrix. She's actually has a decent portfolio. Stephen Curry, am I going to say this guy's a perfectionist? No. He seems like a very normal guy. I mean, that definitely has a lot of, from what I heard, he had a lot of Christian values and standards. But he seemed like he's a very straightforward, pragmatic type of guy. That, it's like it's black or it's white, it's this or it's that. If this person is telling a lie, then why should it bother you? And the thing is, he does not think emotionally. He thinks logically. When you have somebody that thinks logically and an emotional person that requires a crutch, it's not going to work. With Ayesha Curry, she even said in her interview, she's a very emotional person. And Stefan is not. That's not going to work. There has to be some kind of go-between. To be honest with you, I really don't consider Jada to be a fully emotional person. She is emotional. Is she driven by her emotions? It's more strategic than anything else. For somebody that is driven by their emotions, they're extremely chaotic. They're just gonna go at the seat of their pants if something scares them. She literally thinks stuff out. She does think about what people say. She does use a lot of logic. Even though her feelings get hurt very easily because she does have an ego, but the thing about her is she is not driven by her emotions. She's driven by more logic than emotions. I can't say the same thing about Ayesha Curry. She's an emotional person that requires somebody to give her compliments every day. She requires the gentleman gaze all the time. She needs to get validation through her emotions than logic. That's why I don't see their marriage lasting, because she's not gonna bend. She's like a child, to be honest with you. She's like a teenager. She doesn't have that maturity or that mature growth yet. While Stephen Curry does, she doesn't. I don't see that working. But with Jada, she's strategic about everything she does because she comes first. She's the main priority. Not her kids, not her husband, her. She's going to make sure that she don't go down with the ship. She's going to probably go down with you, but then jump off and watch you sink. I can't say the same thing about Ayesha Curry. She acts like a child. She throws these tantrums. She does all these things, but she does not think of the consequences of her actions. And she's going to have to deal with that. She is not like Jada, but is she going down the same path? Technically, you can say she is.
And I picked this photo on purpose. Kind of like showing the little artsy side. I mean, we talked about this off there before we start this video. Jada Pinkett at one time, I wouldn't call her the hottest woman on earth, but she had a little nice, athletic, sporty body at one time.
And also, this brings up another thing. Just when I said that you got, like, if you knew your woman, then you wouldn't be upset about her doing certain things, whether she's an actress or anything. I've known Irvin for a decade and a half. And to be honest with you, I've known that he has always been a guy that appreciates a body of a woman. But do I think that he's going to penetrate every woman that comes across him? No. He has standards. Well, there's also some that I question. but either or, I know him well enough to know that he has enough respect for me to not penetrate every woman that he's attracted.
No,
that he thinks that are attractive or believes that they are.
Yeah,
I'm
not going. First of all, I'm not going to bang any woman while I'm with Regina, because Regina doesn't deserve that. That said, I'm a loyal man, not dead.
Exactly.
Not dead.
Exactly.
Yeah, I've seen some women, like at the gym that, I mean, I don't be like staring them down like I'm Superman and got X-ray vision. And I've seen some dudes even my age, even older than me, be doing that. I'm like, dude. I mean, sometimes I just want to say, dude, calm down.
And it's not like he's gonna try to go over there and talk to him and get their number either.
Exactly. I might look for a second, like, pretty good, and then I'll go back working out.
And I got no problem with that because I know him. I know how he is. I know that he has standards, and I know that he's not gonna do that.
Heck, if I've been at the place I've worked at for over almost 25 years, and I have seen some, and I'll just go ahead and say it, I have seen some badass women, a couple of them who are even national now. I have seen some badass, physically speaking women come through that place. And I didn't try to holler at them. I might have looked for a second and be like, Then I'd go back and do whatever I was doing.
I mean, exactly. But it's to the point where I'm not really concerned about that. And that's what I mean about Jada. If Will really knew his woman, which, like I said, he probably knew that his woman was bisexual, she was a freak, that she's got to dabble this and that. So, and he probably had concerns about him embarrassing, her embarrassing him, which probably caused that little scuffle that he had, well, at least verbal scuffle that he had with Tommy Davidson. It's probably because he was afraid he'll be embarrassed. That'll be traced back to him. In this case, if you go on a podcast like Aisha Curry did and put your entire life on blast, including your husband, who is currently playing in the NBA, it's going to humiliate him and it's going to make him look bad. That's the one thing that you should not do. You should not try to make yourself bigger by making your man look bad. And in this case, it's kind of backfiring on Jada when she said they had an open marriage, to where that, well, Will just straight up kissed somebody on stage in one of these, I don't know what it was or where he was. He went on stage with some type of Latina artist.
And I've been more careful now about saying, well, because at the time he did, I'd be like, okay, all right, Will. Normally I would cheer for a married man doing this, but I'd be like, you know what? She been embarrassing you in public all over the place. Go have at it. But now the more I examine it, we don't know what's been going on between them behind the scenes.
But look,
and given how controlling Will seems to be, it makes me wonder if some of the stuff Jada's been doing is more out of rebellion than anything.
Maybe, but in this picture, you can tell that she's holding the back of his head and he's not touching her. At least from this angle. You can tell when a guy is really into you that he's going to probably grab her waist and pull her closer to him. He knows he's on stage. He knows how it's going to look. She kissed him, he don't touch her. That's in his mind that, okay, I'm not trying to do this. This is just on stage. But it's a given that they're on the outs. They're probably trying to prepare the divorce and all this. It's making her look bad, hence why she has the backlash. I don't think she wants to be married to him anymore, but she doesn't want to look embarrassed either.
Yeah.
In this case with Jada still has far more to gain from this than lose. Aisha has far more to lose than gain. That's the one thing she's got to understand. She's living off her husband's name. If he actually, and the fact that they have all of this video evidence against her, and he demands his name to be brought, his name not to be used, and she has to use her maiden name, that might happen. She's gonna ruin her bag, and whatever bag she's got is gonna get snatched from her. She doesn't have anything to be brought to the table. All she has is just her husband's last name and a bunch of kids. And all she's going to get is child support. And possibly alimony, but I doubt it. He's going to probably fight against that because of what she's been doing. She's ruining herself. At least with Jada, I hate to say it. I mean, as strategic as that woman is, she thinks of herself first. And she's going to get her money to where she can live however she wants. I can't say the same thing about Aisha Curry. She's going to go down that road. If she divorces him, she'll have nothing.
Yeah, that's just us looking outside in. Now, going back to Will Smith, I gotta say though, I know a lot of people say, "Oh, he was right to do what they did to Chris Rock, because that still is his wife, and that still the family, and this and that. And this black women particularly, there were so many times, and some of these women they're saying are people I'm friendly with, but there were times I just want to say, will you please shut the fuck up, you idiots. Even if Chris Rock, and I have heard Chris Rock stand up, and he has said some pretty blunt and mean things on stage. That was on the very, very low end. I have heard him say stuff that was way worse than what he said about Jada. He said, Jada, I love you. G.I. Jane 2, can't wait to see it. You're referring to G.I. Jane. G.I. Jane, which was, if you, hey, by the way, if you're a feminist and you're into women empowering type of movies,
watch G.I. Jane.
Yeah, exactly. If anything,
I actually saw all of
if
G.I.
anything,
Jane. That's a good movie.
If anything, she should have took it as a compliment.
Exactly. For those that actually did see G.I. Jane, G.I. Jane is a good film. She shaved her head because she was in the military. It had nothing to do with her having alopecia. It had everything to do with the fact that she was being bullied by not being one of the guys. And then she actually became one of the guys. She earned their respect. She shaved her head to be a part of her team. That was probably one of the best movies I've ever seen her in. And I think that was before striptease. But
yes.
To be honest with you, I prefer that to striptease. But that's just me. But other than that I would have been like, gave the salute. I would have been like, thank you. That movie was awesome. But it shows how fragile her ego is. And this is the one thing people got to understand about all narcissists. They have the most fragile of fragile egos on the planet. They need validation in order to make themselves feel bigger, and they'll do everything they can to get it. They'll gaslight you. They'll make you look smaller than the next person. They'll sabotage you. They'll do all that. But you got to understand their egos are fragile. If you say the smallest thing to hurt their feelings, it means their whole world is gone. And in her case, she's already self-conscious about losing all of her hair. So she just went off and went on a tangent in that. And if people who actually saw the footage, you saw that Will was laughing.
Exactly. Initially, he was laughing. It was only when Jada kind of gave him the stank eye did he actually go up there. And it was about, proving himself in a relationship that we find out about a year or so after the slap. Jada and him wasn't even together.
Nope. They had been separated for 7 years?
Yes, they weren't even together at the time of the Oscars.
Living in different homes. They're not even in the same house. That should tell you something.
Yeah, and that made what he did even more embarrassing in my eyes.
Yep.
Which, by the way, Jada, I can sympathize with you on some levels concerning your relationship with Will Smith, but the way you did hold a copy on the Today Show, you should have got slapped for that mess. Knowing good and well you said what you said, and then you try to throw that woman who was just doing her job under the freaking bus. She a lot nicer than, let's say, a full-blown sister or even a white woman with some code in check would have been, because there's some that would have put her on her place on national television. Probably would have lost her job, but would have put her in her place on national television. Y'all that have seen that know what I'm talking about. I actually made a video about that for a while back. If I think about it, I'll put the link in the comment section and pin it up so you don't have to look all over the place for it, and you can just check it out for yourself. But yeah, I'm like, girl. But going back to the Oscar slap, those that think that was correct, let me tell you something. And this is just fact. And now, I'm speaking a little bit from my old pro-black ways. If Will Smith would have been an ordinary Negro, first of all, he wouldn't have even made the stage to slap Chris Rock. Second, if he would have got there and put a hand on Chris Rock, he would have not been allowed to go back to his seat. He would have got grabbed before he even got to his seat, taken down, handcuffed, and drugged out of the building. Third, he would not have been allowed to yell like he was in the comedy club, "Keep my wife's name out your fucking mouth." No! He would have been told no. He wouldn't have been asked to leave. He would have been told no. No, and it would have been more in this tone. Maybe not with these words, but it would have been in this tone. He would have been like, Mr. Will Smith, we're asking you, you created some tension with what you did. Could you please leave? No. It would have been like, look, you little light-skinned nigga. Get your ass up. You getting out of here. You can either leave on your own or you can leave with a police escort and handcuffs. Your choice.
Let's be honest.
The only reason why Will Smith is getting buried right now, and I'm saying I'm using that word correctly, he's actually getting buried right now is because everything that happened during the Oscar night was historic. Not to mention that you had a black director that actually did direct the Oscars. That was probably the first in itself. But now everybody forgot about the awards, forgot about who won, and they all focused on what Will did. And the sad thing is that Will won that night.
Yeah, he won Best Actor, but nobody really remembers that. And then he up there like crying, people
He's crying out of sheer embarrassment, maybe because of the fact that he acted out for a woman that never loved him.
Yeah, exactly. But he tried to cover it up like, defended my family. No, fool. It was about defending your ego. Defending a woman that don't love you. Maybe never did. I mean, she might have in the very beginning. But I personally think she liked Will. But I think Will was supposed to be just a friend with benefits. She never planned on actually getting with him.
Yeah, and let's be honest. Jada's kind of made it clear that she did not want to get married. And she did it because of the fact that she was pregnant at the time. I don't know if she was pregnant with her first child.
Her first child, yes,
okay, she was pregnant with her first child with Will. So they weren't married at the time that he was conceived. But the thing is that she could have said no. Yes, she was by herself, but she was still making money. She was still been able to take care of her son, but not on the scale that she's taking care of him now. And it's also to the point where her son kind of don't want anything to do with her or the entire family. He moved out before he was of age. And I hate to say Willow's kind of messed up in the head. We already know she's just not there. Something happened. There's something wrong with her. But the thing is that their decisions to get married, knowing that she didn't want to, had kids when she didn't want that. They didn't want that at all. She just wanted to have a career and make her own name. It ruined her life down the line. This is and I'm going right back to what we talked about before with Aisha Curry. She's doing the same exact thing. She doesn't understand that when you make these decisions, even though at the time it'll be a financial gain for you, you gotta think of the long run. Yeah, you'll be able to actually have financial gain for being married to a multi-millionaire that's has a huge name in basketball and the NBA. But if this is something you never wanted, it's gonna come out sooner or later because you're not gonna have genuine friends to talk to. You're not gonna have genuine friends to actually vent, because what they're gonna do, they're gonna use all your words against you, put it on a podcast, put it in some type of tell-all, put your business out there on blast, to where that eventually they're gonna find out what you really are thinking, how you really feel. You should have never done this. You should have never gotten married, never gotten kids, never took the name. You should have just did what you wanted to do. And yeah, you would have missed that opportunity to have a good guy, because from what I heard about Stephen Curry, he's a stand-up dude. You would have had somebody else that wasn't him, and you would have had that life, but you would have had the life that you would have wanted in the beginning and made yourself that way, if you really wanted to. But in this case, you decided to pull a Jada, get married to a guy you didn't love, that you would rather just bang and not love, had kids that you never wanted. That's gonna have to hear that. That's gonna be on the internet on websites for an infamy. It's gonna be impossible to erase that. Somebody downloaded it. Your kids are gonna hear that, to know that you never wanted them, and they're gonna think that way. Everything that you said is gonna be held against you, and you're gonna be forced to be held accountable for it. You're gonna get demonized for it too. That's just the one thing you gotta understand. Not to mention, if you break Stefan's heart, every fan on this planet's gonna come after you. Seriously.
Yep.
They're gonna come after you, they're gonna dox you, find out where you live, go after your kids. You're gonna ruin their lives because of your selfishness. That's just what's gonna happen. You should have never gotten married, never had kids, never met Stefan, never even been with them, and even though you've known him for like a decade and a half, you should have made that decision to not be with him at all, if that's not what you wanted. And Jada's dealing with that now, but that was on her. She made those decisions. Even if her mama said you need to get married and have a name for your kid, I'll be like, bleep this out. It's my life, not yours. Not yours. I deal with this, not you. You want a name? Fine. You marry somebody, get a name, and try to pop out a kid at your age. Do that. I'm not doing it. You could have said no. You were outside the house. You make your own decisions on your own if you are not under your parents' roof. It is no excuse. Now those kids got to deal with it. And I feel bad for them. Stefan will be fine. He'll find himself another chick to be with. But your kids are going to have to deal with that burden for the rest of their life. And it's your fault. And you're going to have to be held accountable for it. Just like how Jada's being held accountable for it now.
Yes.
And will.
Yes. And going back to the Oscar slap, let me just say also personally, the quote Dr. D. David Schultz, a famous old-time pro wrestler from the 80s, he was asked about that comment. He was like, they need to take that boy Will Smith and teach him how to really throw a punch or something, because he barely moved Chris Rock. He wasn't even down. Didn't he twice Chris Rock's size? Yeah, he got marching up there like he was Gunther. Like he was Gunther or something. They were like, no, you need to teach that man how to... No, if you're going to slap somebody, make sure the sound reverberates.
Oh, gosh.
Reverberates all over the place. I know. I'm just being... Yeah, and then on top of that, you only did that because you knew Chris Rock was probably not going to fight back. Most likely. If that would have been Mike Tyson up there, I know Tyson said, well, I wouldn't have said, it's still the man's wife. I wouldn't have said nothing in the first place. Yeah, but still, Mike Tyson probably could have got up there. Will Smith wouldn't have did jack. Because, even though he's old and everything, it's still Mike Tyson.
Mike Tyson can still, beat the crap out of you.
Yes.
He'll beat you into a black puddle on the ground.
If it would have been, instead of Chris Rock, to quote Mick Foley, if it would have been The Rock, you think he would have got up? No. Even at the size The Rock is now, even though he shrunk from The Rock to the Pebble, really, he done got off the juice and everything. And that's my opinion. Even still, he's still a pretty good sized dude, even though he done shrunk. He's still a pretty good size. He probably wouldn't have walked up on The Rock. He probably wouldn't have walked up on Vin Diesel or anybody that he knew would have threw hands back. He probably wouldn't have did that on Chris Rock's younger brother, Tony. Yeah. And Tony talked mad junk about Will Smith after that happened. He probably wouldn't have walked up on Tony because he knows Tony would have threw back at him. Or if that would have been one of the Wayne's brothers, he would not have walked up there because he would have got ganged up right. He would have got gang jumped that night.
Seriously, he probably would have. But the thing is, that's your friend. That's your friend that you have known for years. That's your friend that had your back even when you were acting stupid. You're gonna up and do that when he's hosting the Oscars, which should be a moment for him, not you. It's your moment if you win something. But he was actually hosting. You had next to, I think Kevin Hart was supposed to be the guy after Chris Rock, but he turned it down because of all the controversy. But the fact that Chris Rock was actually hosting, I don't know if he was the first black man. I can't remember if he was or not. But the fact that you have a black man hosting and a black man directing in the same night, you want to not take that away from them. And I'm going to a wrestling reference here. For those that actually remember the old school wrestling, whether or not it's like Irvin's era, like World Class, or even 1980s WWE, every time you saw a match, and this is a match that we saw not that long ago, probably maybe a few weeks ago, the Ultimate Warrior versus Hulk Hogan. Hulk Hogan's always known to soak up the limelight. What did he do after he lost? Not only did they play a great story in the ring, he gave the title to Ultimate Warrior, left the ring, walked up, well, actually got on that little thing, and then actually got driven up the ramp. But he was no longer there. He let Warrior soak in the moment, and that iconic footage with the fireworks behind him, him holding the belt in the air, both the IC title as well as the world belt. That was an iconic moment that was on every magazine at the time that lived in your brains forever. He left that ring as big as he was and gave Warrior his moment. He did not try to take it from him. That is what Will should have thought about it when it came to Chris Rock being the host. He should have just allowed his friend to have that moment and not embarrass him because of his dumbass wife at the time. Take it back. They weren't even, they weren't even together. They were separated. Technically, you're kind of not married if you're not really living in the same home. Legally, you're still married. Let's be honest, they weren't. You're doing this for a woman that never loved you. You literally humiliate yourself and destroy your career. And then embarrass your friend for a woman that didn't love you.
Yeah, and to be honest, we've seen with the so-called comeback, Will Smith still really isn't sorry for what he did. He's still not really sorry. He's sorry about what it cost him. He's not sorry he put hands on Chris Rock. He's sorry for what it's cost him. And it's cost him big.
He lost so many deals, so much money.
Yeah, it cost him big. I mean, me and Regina got into it with a guy that we're friends with, Prince GMO, which, by the way, if he listens to this, shout out. You're in time. He thinks, Will Smith was right, but we all agree he should have handled that off camera if it was that offensive to him.
Right.
He should have handled that off camera. He should not have went on the stage in front of the world.
And I think a lot of people actually do agree with that. Even some pro-black YouTubers, they may agree that he did this for his wife, but they disagree in how he handled it. And I think we're all in agreement that he handled it poorly. And what did he do? He thought he was untouchable. He thought he had black people behind him. It's mixed with the black community.
Yeah, it's mixed with the black community, but with the non-black, like the whites and all the others, they more or less was like Will Smith should have gotten arrested for assault.
Yep.
And Chris Rock should have sued him.
Yep. To be honest with you, Will kind of messed himself up.
Yeah, but in a way though, this is better what Chris Rock not taking any, because in a way he ended up, at least for a minute, being way bigger than Will Smith in a way. So, and Will has lost, because think about it, every movie he has tried to put out or did put out has pretty much except for Bad Boys. The Bad Boys sequel is the only one that made any money.
Really?
And that's only because of two things. One, nostalgia, because everybody loves that series. And number two, people still love Martin Lawrence. For the most part.
That movie did well.
Yeah, it actually did well. But everything else he's put out has bombed. Or they've canceled it altogether. Or like the Men in Black sequel, which no one asked for. The Men in Black 5, that's being pushed back.
Men in Black International destroyed that.
Yeah, although I won't put the total blame on Will Smith and the Oscar slap. I'd say Men in Black International destroyed the value of that thing. It's more than what Will Smith did.
Yeah, Men in Black International just sucked overall.
Yeah,
so we can't really blame him for that.
Yeah, but for the new one, reportedly, they reduced his contract from $100 million to $50 million. And originally, Jada was supposed to be in it as a member of Men in Black and was supposed to be the love interest of Agent J. Of course, Agent J is Will Smith. Well, not only did they reduce his pay, Sony took Jada way out of it, which looking at it, and I don't look at it from the business point of view, because most of the time the corporates don't know what the heck they're doing. On this one, they probably made the right decision. Because now the reducing of Will Smith's contract, that might be one thing. But taking Jada out of it, when Jada's name is kind of toxic right now, or has been the last few years, probably was the right move. Although I will say, even if it wasn't, even if none of that would have happened, Men in Black International did more to destroy the value of MIB than the Will Smith Oscar slap.
Yeah, pretty much. And I guess you probably heard Irvin's grown, and especially, and it's mainly because of the whole TKO Endeavor thing, which we don't think that they have a clue about the wrestling business and what they're actually doing, since everything has changed, and the fact that you have to make probably more than $50,000 a year. Actually, I take it back. You gotta make more than $500,000 a year to actually get a ticket to go to WrestleMania or to any type of event. And that's something that we were talking about. Hence that grown that they don't know what they're doing when it comes to wrestling business. But when it comes to Sony, they knew what they were doing.
Yeah, but let's be honest. Sony's had a lot of bombs the last few years. I mean, they've had okay films like the Venom movies, but then you had bombs like Morbius, Madam Web, shoot, that's just the name too.
Madam Web is so bad it's funny though.
Yeah, Madam Web, you can at least poke fun at it.
You can't poke fun at Morbius, it's just flat out bad.
Yeah, you can at least poke. That Oscar slap, basically, yeah, he might have called himself although I think he was really taking up more for his ego. And nowadays, he's trying to recover for it, but I think he's more recovering for his career and all the stuff he lost. Now, will he be on the street? Nah, he probably still good as far as money and stuff. But let's be honest, his image was everything. And that probably meant more to him than loss of money and revenue. And that Oscar slap cost him the one thing he valued the most. And he's been trying to get that back. That's why he was doing the rap like, I like pretty girls, girls, girls. I mean, let's be honest. Will Smith has always been goofy. Let's just say that for you young folks. He's always been goofy. But back in the day, it was cool. There was a cool factor to it. That's why he got away with it. There was a cool factor, and there was a genuine factor. There was a genuine vibe to him.
Can we honestly say that it was goofy though when he did the Men in Black theme and the Men in Black theme?
And Men in Black is almost as iconic as the Will Smith Summertime.
Yeah.
Men in Black is almost as iconic as the Summertime theme.
Yeah. Because I think I don't know if that original beat was his for Summertime, but we all know the reason why Men in Black did so well. It's because of the beat he used. It wasn't what song did he use? I forgot. Was it Diana Ross or Roberta? It wasn't Roberta Flack.
Oh no, it was Patrice Rushen. It was called Forget Me Nots.
Forget Me Nots. That's what it was.
Forget Me Nots.
Forget Me Nots itself is a very iconic song.
Yeah.
And he used that beat for Men in Black. That's why it worked. That whole album actually was pretty good. That whole soundtrack.
Yeah. I used to have that whole soundtrack, and actually, that whole soundtrack had some catchy songs. Genuine had a little thing on there.
Oh, yeah.
Snoop Dogg and I forgot who he teamed up, but they used the old theme from Get Down on It from Kool and the Gang for that one.
Yeah.
For that one, but Trey Songz before he got into infamy. Was on there. I mean, it had some cool. So Destiny's Child was on there.
Yeah.
That was one of their first appearances. When I say Destiny's Child, I mean the 4-woman group.
The original 4.
The original 4. Not DC3.
DC3.
Not DC3, the original 4.
Oh gosh, DC3. But Will Smith is not going to be able to get his reputation back. That's the one thing he has to understand. It takes about 10 years for people to erase you from their attention spans. You gotta wait a decade, bruh, and I don't think you have that long. Not so much health-wise. I have no idea of his health currently, but age-wise, you can't wait 10 years. You can't afford to wait 10 years.
Yeah.
So that's kind of it. I mean, he needs to figure out exactly what to do and try to go beyond this. And honestly, what could redeem his name is divorcing Jada.
Yes.
Divorce her, give her whatever she wants, because let's be honest, you're worth $200 million, which in my opinion should be more than that. You got The Rock have a larger worth than you. The Rock's close to $1 billion. You should have been there already, but you were too busy.
And the Rock has only been in Hollywood really maybe a fraction of the time you have.
He's been in Hollywood at least for almost a decade.
Yeah, Will Smith's been around for what, 2?
2 or 3. He's been around for 30 years. The Rock's been around for close to 10.
Yeah, we kind of had that little discussion like on the late Hulk Hogan and Ric Flair, how they should have been. Well, Hulk Hogan might have been if it wasn't for that divorce from Linda, but Flair definitely should be worth way more than what he is.
Flair messed himself up, to be honest with you, because of his finances, and he kept living the Ric Flair lifestyle instead of the David Fleer lifestyle.
Oh, Richard Fleer.
Richard Fleer. I'm thinking of his son David. But the Richard Fleer lifestyle, he wouldn't let that go. And he lived the Ric Flair lifestyle, and that is what bankrupted him. Let's be honest, Hulk Hogan didn't really make a lot of positive investments over the years. He kind of missed the mark. But then also his divorce with Linda drained every ounce of bank accounts he has. And the sad thing is, the house he had in Clearwater, that was on Hogan's Knows Best. They sold that house.
Yep.
And the sad thing is, he didn't get anything from it. I think it was in Linda's name. So I think she got majority of the proceeds from it. But the fact is if you deal with a bad divorce and going through court, you're going to lose money. And his net worth dropped. It went from being close to 100 to 20.
Yeah, 100 million to 20 million. Ooh,
that's a big drop. And not only that, well, Brooke has decided to kind of keep her name out of it. So whatever assets is left goes to her brother Nick. And it wasn't a lot, to be honest with you. Looking at the amount, it wasn't a lot.
Yeah, so it was not a lot. But yeah, Will Smith, bruh, you just got to take that chin to the L. Yeah, you might have felt like a man slapping Chris Rock, but it cost you. And that should be a lesson to men in general, man. A man that can control his mouth, his stomach, his privates, and to be honest, his temper will go a long way. Yeah, you might seem like a little punk at the time, but 5 years down the road, bro, I mean, who will be that much richer? Because you saw what he did. You saw what Will Smith did. This was in what, 2022?
Yeah.
This is 3 years later. He's still paying for it. 3 years later, he's still paying for it. And he's, I mean, to the point that to Ari Spears, who I'm not a big fan of, Ari Spears was even clowning him. And I gotta admit, he's laughing. He's like, even though I'm an action star, times I act bizarre. He was like, N-word, give me Vanilla Ice.
Oh my God.
Yeah. I mean, Ari Spears, who to me has never been that funny, even he had me laughing with the way he was clowning Will Smith. I mean, everybody been clowning you, from Jada to the slap. to you trying to rap again?
No, I think that he'll be able to overcome this, to be honest with you. I think that he's able to surpass this. He just needs to leave Jada.
Yeah, that's going to be the
And-
biggest thing.
and
Because everybody, even mainstream, even people that watch the mainstream that normally would not be cheering for divorce or not be saying divorce, even some of them are like, well, please divorce her.
Yeah.
Even people who are in the open marriage type of lifestyle, even some of them are like,
I mean,
boy, you need to divorce that woman quick.
I think that he'll probably get maybe some people rooting for him after he divorces Jada, because Jada kind of put herself out there as a narcissist, and nobody really cares much about her anymore. It's going to be harder on Jada.
Yeah, public perception wise, yeah.
Public perception wise, because she was so busy being focused in her bubble that she didn't really see the outcome of what she did. And to be honest with you, it's going to be hard for her to get back in the boat. But it's not going to be that hard for Will. He just got to divorce her. Not date for a while. Focus on bringing your life up. And if you do want to date, make it casual. And don't remarry anymore. You've been married for almost 30 years. I doubt he's going to get married again. I doubt it. But if he divorces her, if he tries to go on with his life, it's a possibility that he might bounce back. Jada's going to have to live off whatever funds that Will gives her and whatever assets she collects. That's it. I doubt it. I doubt that she's going to be going and doing any movies because her name is Mud right now. And I think she knows that. But she'll be back on her feet. If she don't want to work, she don't have to. But Will, if he does want to work and have a name and build his name up, he knows what he's got to do. It's just, do you have the balls to do it?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, you got anything else there?
I think we pretty much said everything we need to say.
Yeah. Well, I'm out then.